Okay, what if I told you that one of the most epic teams ever assembled doesn't actually play on a field or in an esports arena, but in a giant concert hall? I want you to forget everything you think you know about classical music, because today we're going to treat the Symphony Orchestra like it's the ultimate pro sports team. Let's get into it.
So let's start with this question. A symphony orchestra or the ultimate esports team? I'm serious. Just think about it. You've got a team captain calling all the shots, a huge roster of players with specialized skills, a super complex playbook, and of course a massive live event. So, in the next few minutes, we're going to meet the captain, scout the roster, decode their playbook, and get you totally ready for game day. First things first, every great team needs a great leader, right? Well, in an orchestra, that person is the conductor. You'll spot them right away. They're standing front and center on this little raised platform called a podium. It's basically their command post for the entire game. So what does a conductor actually do? Well, you can think of them as the head coach, and they've got four main jobs. First, they have to study the playbook, which is called the score, and they have to know every single move inside and out. Then, during the performance, they set the game speed, or the tempo, telling the team exactly when to speed up or slow down. They give signals with their hands and this little stick called a baton, kind of like a coach on the sidelines. And maybe most importantly, they unify the entire team, making sure everyone is playing together and that the sound is perfectly balanced. All right, so who's actually on this team? The musicians in an orchestra are organized into four main groups, or families. It's kind of like having different squads for offense, defense, and special teams. So let's meet the players. First up, you've got the strings. Now, this is the biggest squad in the orchestra, and they sit right up front. You can think of them as the all-star players. They're on the field almost the entire time, carrying the main melody and really driving the emotional core of the game. They make their sound by pulling a bow made of horsehair across the strings of their instruments. Okay, sitting right behind the strings, you'll find the woodwinds. These are your specialists. They have really unique sounds, and they're the ones who get called on to perform these incredible solo plays that can totally change the mood of the entire piece. It takes amazing breath control because they make their sound by blowing air through a tiny piece of wood called a reed, or just across a small hole. Now we get to the real power hitters, the brass section. Whenever you need a massive, triumphant, super loud sound for a huge moment, like scoring the winning goal in the final seconds, that's when you bring in the brass. These players create those powerful, brilliant sounds by vibrating their lips into a metal mouthpiece. They're the ones you can hear over everyone else. And way, way in the back, you have the hype crew, the percussion section. These players do it all. They hit, shake, or scrape all kinds of different instruments to keep the rhythm, add awesome sound effects, and just pump pure energy and excitement into the music. They're really the heartbeat of the team, driving the pace and making everything feel way more intense. So, we've met the team, but how in the world do almost 100 different players get ready to perform perfectly together? Well, it all comes down to their playbook and a ton of practice. The team's official playbook is called the musical score, and it is a massive book that shows the conductor every single note that every single player is supposed to play at the exact same time. It's basically the master plan that shows how all these different parts are going to lock together to create one incredible sound. So how do you even read this thing? Honestly, it's kind of like learning the cheat codes for a video game. A note on the page tells a player which specific move to make, but then you have these special commands, which are usually in Italian. So if you see the word forte, that means go full power attack, play loud. If you see piano, that means it's time to switch to stealth mode and play soft. And a word like allegro, that's the signal for a quick rush play. You gotta go fast. Of course, you can't just read the playbook. You have to practice the plays. Musicians will practice their own parts at home, kind of like a player working on their free throws. And then they all come together for rehearsals, which are basically just team scrimmages. This is where the conductor, the coach, fine-tunes everything, balances the sound, and makes the team run the difficult plays over and over and over until they are absolutely perfect. Okay, so after all of that prep, all those hours of practice, it's finally time for the main event. Welcome to Game Day, the live concert. Orchestras have totally leveled up over time. Back in the 1700s, they were kind of like minor league teams, smaller groups playing in palaces for kings and queens. But in the 1800s, they went pro. The teams got bigger, louder, and they added more power hitters like the brass and percussion. And today, they're in the major leagues, playing live and recording those epic soundtracks you hear in huge movies and video games. Now, if you ever go to a live game, there are a few rules and rituals you should know. The stadium is a concert hall, and it's built with special acoustics to make the sound perfect. Before the game starts, the lead violinist, who's called the concertmaster, leads the team warm-up by getting everyone to tune their instruments. And here is the biggest rule of all. You have to hold your applause. I know, it's different, but you wait until the entire piece of music is finished. And if you thought the performance was amazing, you can give them a standing ovation.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's really this. An orchestra isn't just a group of musicians. It's a perfectly coordinated team where every single player has a specific role, and they all have to nail it for the whole team to succeed. It's like the ultimate team sport, where the prize is creating something truly amazing. Which leaves us with one last question to think about. With all these different players, the conductor calling the shots, the star soloists, the rhythm section, who do you think is the real MVP of the orchestra? Is it one person, or is it the team itself? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.